All right, we are about to start a treatment for submental skin tightening and then also tech neck. So you can see that I've marked, we call this a sunset pattern. I've marked, sort of looks like a sunset. And so I'm just going to lay my threads following this pattern here. Usually you can pack about 8 to 10 threads in the submental area. And we are using 29 gauge by 40 millimeter twisted threads. These are going to stimulate the most collagen. And so I'm just trying to get the best results that I can here. This is her 4th treatment for the submental area. And then for the tech neck, essentially I've just sort of marked out exactly where I want to place those threads. And it's pretty much in the static creases of her neck. With the placement of the twisted threads, you do meet a little bit of resistance as you meet that thread in the tissue. And so you'll see here, it does require a little bit extra of a push as compared to your mono threads. So just something to keep in mind. We tend to get a lot of questions about the twisted threads. People will place them and find that once they remove the needle, the thread is still wrapped around the needle. And so you have to make sure that you fully integrate that thread into the tissue. And so it does require a little bit of an extra push. Just something to be mindful of. And I did numb her for about 10 minutes with a topical BLT. Doing okay? Mm-hmm. So prior to removing our threads, we always twist them 360 degrees. This engages the thread into the tissue. And then we place pressure at your distal end of your needle prior to removing. You can remove one at a time, you can remove multiple at a time, basically whatever feels most comfortable for you. Okay, so the submental area is done. We're going to move on to the tech neck. All right, the beauty about smooth threads is there's really no right or wrong for placement. There's no pattern that has to be used. You just develop a pattern that's most appropriate for that particular patient. Every patient is going to have different needs depending on their anatomy, what their goals are, what their areas of concern are. So I like to think of the threads, like where you place the thread is where you're going to get your collagen stimulation. We tend to stimulate collagen about 1.5 millimeters around the thread that we place. So for example, in these necklace lines, we only need them in that actual crease in which we're placing them. That's why I'm not doing like a cross hatching or placing multiple in those lines, because that will stimulate all the collagen that I need within that necklace line. Versus up here, we're covering a wider area, and so I've placed them pretty closely together to ensure that I get nice, even coverage of that collagen production. So I've gone basically just into her deep tech neck lines, and that's where I'm placing. Oh, sorry, pulled your hair. That's where I'm placing these threads. Doing okay? Mm-hmm. Last couple. So again, there's really no right or wrong. You just have to make sure that you're sort of covering the area that you're concerned about. So you've noticed I've gone back a couple of times. This is her deeper crease that I'm attacking here. So there's a couple areas in which I'm going to place them in both directions just to make sure to sort of maximize that neocollagenesis. Okay, that's it. So we're just going to turn all of these 360 degrees and remove. And that's it. So these thread treatments can be done basically every 4 weeks, anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks apart. We recommend at least 3 treatments in order to get the most out of the smooth threads. Anything like 1 treatment, you generally won't really see much in terms of results. Like I mentioned, this is Julia's 4th treatment. You could pretty much treat her every month moving forward if the patient was interested in that. We have a lot of patients that will just continue to treat until we see the results that we're looking for. Or sometimes we'll treat for 3 months straight and then give them a break for 3 months. That 3 to 6 month mark is when we produce, that's when we expect these threads results to peak. So a lot of times I'll give them 3 treatments, give them a break for 3 months, and then reevaluate at that point because that's when the threads will be most effective. And then at that time, you can either decide to start another series or give them, if they're happy with the results at that point, then you can give them another couple months before you restart.